Welcome back to the show, everybody. We have a little title change. I don't know if I warned my team here, Miss Quida, but it's Shared Spaces is the name of the show because what we do is we share space in this time with really great people in Baltimore, people really doing the work, regardless of whether they're getting help or not. Very genuine people. And today's guest is Miss Nicole Chang. Um, and of course, introduce yourself because you do so much, and I haven't talked to you in a while, so it's great to catch up.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Dave has said my name is Nicole Chang. The day job, I work with Baltimore City Schools. I am the social emotional learning coach for Vanguard Collegiate Middle School. I'm also the co-founder of our Legacy Incorporated. We create programming for youth of all ages as well as give them a platform for their concerns.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. So if you look below you on the screen, actually I had a couple special guests from the 2017 Love You to Life camp who just wanted to say hi.
Hi,
So,
guys.
you guys unmute yourself, say hi to Miss Nicole, and introduce yourself.
Hello.
I'm Mr. Cole.
Hey, TJ. How are you?
I'm Michael.
Yep, Big Mike and TJ. So I guess let me introduce you guys real quick. So TJ lives Northwest. He was a part of camp 2017, our Youth Leadership Summit, as was Big Mike Holland over there in Sedonia. Thank God that the camp built relationships. We're still connected. COVID kind of complicated it, but my guys, how you been doing, man?
We've been good.
Working, I've been working now, so yeah.
All right.
Guys are
Let me
working.
ask Big Mike, man. Share something with Miss Nicole that is significant about camp. Like, why is camp important? Because obviously we haven't done it in 2 years, and I need people to know like why what we do is important.
Because it's more so about connecting with. See, look, the whole situation about the camp is that it's cops undercover. So basically, we don't know that they're cops. They don't know that they talking to police and all that stuff. Because what happened in probably 2015, 2016 with the police brutality and all that stuff. And so they started a program where they would have police be like a normal person and have kids around them and talk to them about certain things, about how they feel about police officers and about the situation that's going on. So the whole program was about connecting with police officers and reaching out and seeing how they react to your statements or your questions about them or how you feel about them. And then at the end of the day, they reveal themselves and how they be like, oh my God, I didn't know who this was and I didn't know who that was. So it's all about a surprise and how people react and how people have a good time with police officers.
So y'all telling me, TJ, yeah, if you want to explain a little more, because I kind of jumped right in, but to back up a little bit, you want to explain what the camp was and that Miss Nicole played a significant part in, and I love you so much for it because I've built relationships for life with you. Go ahead, TJ.
And so just real quick, the Carlos wanted to say what's up to you guys on Facebook. I don't know if you guys can see the chat because it looks like you might be on your phone, but the Carlos said what's up. So go ahead, TJ.
Okay, first off, yes, we can see the chat. What's up? And second off, writing off of what Mike said, yes, it's basically like connecting with the cops, just letting you know that not every cop is going to be on the negative side of the law, there's going to be those cops that are going to want to help you out. Like, for example, how we had that camp, and it was a way for us to see that not every cop is going to be on our bad side, or we're not going to be on their bad side. And it's a way for us to know that we can depend on them and not be like, okay, there's a cop, we can't really trust them, it's a way for us to build trust with the cops.
So you guys, what happened was you got nominated for a camp and you went to this overnight leadership camp, and you had no idea, but everyone that surrounded you, even the people cooking and cleaning, possibly counselors for sure, were all police, but y'all didn't know, right? And so you built these relationships. You're able to build relationships and have experiences, have a camp experience and leadership experience, learning from these guys. At the end of the week, it's revealed to you that they're police, right? And man, some people wild out, and it's pretty crazy. But it's valuable, right? Because you guys, like you just said, like you learn that, you know, not every cop is what the media portrays. And a lot of work went into that. I'll tell you, like the last 2 years, we haven't been able to do it. And I don't know, Miss Nicole, if you want to speak on what that looked like putting that thing together, because we need to keep it going. Like that is a legendary legacy that we just need to proliferate.
Absolutely.
You know,
So
it's so important.
the camp was the of Chief Melvin Russell, and so was right after Freddie Gray had happened, and so the city was just in turmoil. There was one with our youth, and just the way to bridge the gap in our. So he knew that he wanted to have a with young folks. So I suggested that, you know, obviously with our kids in our community, stereotypes in place that honestly prevent many of our kids from even wanting to participate with something like this had they known in the forefront that these were officers. Because just like these officers have stereotype of our kids also have, you know, stereotypes, and also not just stereotypes, but experiences with officers that may affect how they see them. And so we had the privilege of working with Baltimore City Schools, the mayor's office. We worked with Target was a sponsor, Downtown Locker Room, Baltimore City Recs and Parks, Our Legacy Incorporated. We had so many awesome partners directly in our city. And so what we decided to do was we selected 50 young people, both male and females, 25 middle school students and 25 high school students. And so these students were selected. We wanted to make sure that these students needed the support. So most of our students were coming from single parent household. They were children of initially minority students, but we opened it up to young people, period. So it didn't matter the color. We just wanted them to have a need. If they lacked, whether it was mentorship or just opportunities, we wanted to have a diverse bunch of kids that would experience this together. And so the first year out, we got our 50 kids. And so we had parents nominated them, officers, principal, counselors, anyone in the community, churches were nominating young people. And so everything was paid for. I approached the parents. I explained who I was, what we were trying to do. We explained to the parents that the actual camp counselors were going to be Baltimore City police officers and Baltimore City school officers, and the parents consented. They knew that the students weren't going to be told on the forefront; they were going to be told on the last day, and so the parents agreed. The kids signed up. We picked them up. The officers, they came. Parents dropped them off. We picked some of the kids up, and we took them outside of Baltimore. So that was the next step for us. We wanted our kids to see something other than and experience things other than what's in their city. We wanted to open them up. There's a big world out there, and we wanted our kids to be able to step outside of the city so that sometimes they can just be themselves. The environment matters. And so we were able to take them away to a beautiful space. Each year we used a different camp where they had horseback riding, where they had the pool. We were able to do different activities with them. But most importantly, they were able to connect with these officers. So it was an opportunity for these officers to see these young people not as delinquents or juveniles, but as they would see their own children, right? So these were young people. And then for the kids, they were able to see these officers not as police officers just according to their badge, but they met them on even ground as an individual. And so we bonded. The kids had different workshops. We had social workers there, therapists to be able to help them unpack, because some of these kids had really been through some things with officers. We had one young man, his dad was killed by police officers. So these kids were impassioned. They were angry. They had every right to some of their anger. Some of even, their stereotypes we understood, but we wanted to have our officers especially be Baltimore City police officers be able to hear it directly from our kids and understand that these were their experiences and have them explain to themselves, right? And so they were unleashed. They were able to communicate how they felt about officers. It was interesting because we started the conversation off by asking our young people how many of them knew an officer personally. And so we had a couple hands. As you know, Baltimore City schools do have, some of them have police officers in there. So some of them knew some officers. We then asked them how many knew an officer that they trusted, right? And so maybe one throughout the 3-4 years we've done it, we may have had 1 or 2 kids that raised their hand, but majority did not know an officer that they trusted or that they knew personally that they would go to for help. And so we wanted to change that, right? And so the kids were able to express how they felt. During this time, the officers could not defend the profession. They simply sat and listened, right? Because in order to listen, they had to really hear. So we didn't want an explanation. We didn't want them to defend the profession. We wanted you to hear about these real life experiences so you can understand where our children are coming from, right? Because they're children. No matter how big they look or how small they are children. And so we wanted them to realize that. And it happened. Somehow we bonded. We got beyond the initial contact of just being strangers. We built some relationships. Like, it was an awesome experience. On the last day, we invited parents to come up. We had an awards ceremony for the kids for different things. And then the officers actually came out on stage in their uniforms, right? And so this was a big deal. We really needed to be prepared because these kids had built a bond with someone, but we still were kind of shielding the identity for them. And this was going to take some unpacking because some of them didn't trust officers. And so a lot of them told us that they felt betrayed, right? And so some of them could not believe that these people that had loved on them, that had mentored them, that had fed into them were actually Baltimore City police officers. They could not believe it, even in the uniform. And so, you know, we worked with that. We let them unpack. We had them share. The officers came down. We hugged. And after that, the most important part for me was that this wasn't a one-touch event. Because with this program, the kids, it becomes a year-long mentorship, right? So we would meet with the kids once a month collectively. We would just kind of see how things are doing. And the kids were assigned a mentor. So they were paired with an officer of their choosing and the officer as well. And we checked on them throughout the year, like connected how they were doing. We went to events for them. And so these were building the relationships so that when these kids did go back into their schools and into their communities, they knew someone that they trusted that was an adult, that someone that was an officer. And so for the officers, it was also a big deal. I mean, many of them learned different perspective and even how to deal with our young people. So, and personally, just myself, just the relationships I've created with our kids and the ability to see them grow, because many of them, some of them had different issues that they were facing. And through the mentorship, and Dave, I just have to commend you, especially the relationship that you've built with the guys, TJ, Michael, Dayson. You have been a constant in their life. You have not stopped even during COVID. And so this is the success of the program, is the lasting relationships, right? So it's not even the pictures, it's not the opportunity. It's the fact that our young people now have another adult in their community that they can lean on. And that's ultimately what we were trying to provide.
Go ahead, Dayson. You just joined us. Introduce yourself.
So everybody know me. I just got
Having a little bit of difficulty there.
Technical difficulties. Okay, well, so that's amazing. So Chap was saying that you guys were unable to. Okay, are you back? Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah. I just got a phone call as soon as you asked. Like, that was coincidence, but
Typical.
Yeah, typical. My name is Dayson Brooks. I'm on this show a lot, so I'm pretty sure everybody know me. I also attended this summer mentorship camp with the police officers, with TJ and Michael and Miss Chang and David. So yeah.
So what was your, Dayson, what was your experience like when you were first initially told about the camp? Because I'm curious. I know that you guys were so polite when I called and invited you, but what were you really thinking? I don't think I ever really asked you that. Like, what were you really thinking when you first heard about the opportunity?
So Miss Helen, who was my boss at the time, she's the one who told me about the camp. She's the one who recommended me to the camp. I guess she found out through her church or whatever. But when she told me, she said that it was for, you know, at-risk youth, people who needed help. And at the time, I didn't think that I did. I didn't think that this was something that I could personally benefit from, because I didn't see that there were issues that, you know, I needed to address in myself. So at first, I didn't want to go to the camp. You know, after you get to the camp and you start making friends with the people at the camp and the administrators per se at the camp, I was happy that I actually went. I was happy that I had the opportunity to go. And I was even more happy and surprised to see that a lot of the people, the administrators at the camp, were police officers. Like, that was like a really big opportunity that I could have missed because I thought that I did not need the help.
Awesome. I appreciate that. TJ, was that your experience? Were you initially kind of wary of attending the camp?
Yes, I was at first. At the same time, like, I started making friends and I started growing comfortable with the camp. I was like, okay, maybe I could survive for like the rest of the week.
As you guys stuck it, and obviously we're here now, so I'm just grateful that you guys trusted us enough and you trusted the process. So I'm so grateful for that.
And so I'm curious, like, what would you guys say to invite, you know, other people to this particular camp, like Dayson and TJ? What would you say so that there was less resistance and less of, I don't need that, or camp, I'm not interested in that? Like, how could the message be delivered so that people like, I want to knock down the doors to get into this camp?
Well, first, I wouldn't say that it's like a camp. I wouldn't say that it's a camp for at-risk youth either. I would say that it's more of like a companionship, or like a place where you can go to make friends and to further develop, whether that be within your career pathway or as just a person, because we learned a lot of stuff about careers in this camp, about different careers, because a lot of the even the police officers who we didn't know were police officers at the time had a lot to say about different aspects of how to, you know, get into different things, whether that be career or school, college, so on and so forth. So I wouldn't necessarily you know, pitch this camp as a camp. I would pitch it as more like a way to, you know, get out of the city, enjoy the fresh air, enjoy some new faces, new people, new experiences, etc.
Yeah, let me comment on that, Dayson, because that was a big deal when I was sharing when we're getting people for camps and stuff as well. Is that, you know, we're not saying you guys or for whatever reason people at the camp are at risk, and growing up in Baltimore are at risk, right? We named it the Youth Leadership Camp the one year, and that's significant because the people running the camp recognize that the kids getting in trouble or making poor decisions and getting caught, it's because you guys are young leaders. And the problem is that you don't have people necessarily showing everyone how to make good decisions, right? So y'all just doing whatever you want to do. And there's a certain characteristic of leadership there, right? So the camp was to engage kids who had all this potential, but not access to the opportunities they needed to make better decisions. So TJ's a quiet kid. He wasn't like rowdy or getting in trouble a lot at school, but you know, he grows up near Garrison. You know, the one night I called him, there was a shooting like one block up. I'm like, yo, you good? And he's like, yeah, that was like a block down the street. And my thing is, you shouldn't be good from that, right? But like, so your risk is growing up in this traumatizing, you know, environment of Baltimore. You know, there was some kids, you know, I don't need to name nobody. Y'all remember the kids at camp that wilded out and they were more loud and obnoxious, but at the same time, they're also leaders. And when young leaders like yourself are getting into trouble or making poor decisions, your community follows you, your people follow you. right? Dayson, TJ, Big Mike was on here. If Mike, and I ain't talking trash or putting him out there. I'm just saying, if Mike was to go out and smoke weed, there's a whole group of kids that want to do whatever Mike's doing. So I need Mike to do like he was on the phone today from his job at Walgreens. So I needed Mike to get a job because now his people see him doing that. They're like, yo, I need to get a job, make some money like Mike. You guys are leaders, whether you like it or not. And so the camp tries to steer you in a different direction, give you different experience, and connect you with a support system that changes your narrative. Because you could easily, Dayson, and TJ, you guys could easily be out on the corner, getting into trouble, getting locked up, and getting caught in that loop of recidivism. And I feel very strongly that part of your narrative, I'm not saying directly, but part of that narrative of you guys being successful young men, TJ killing it at school, Dayson, Ms. Chang, I don't know if you know, but Dayson's a sophomore at Coppin, going to school for political science. Like, he's mentoring kids. He's out in the community. You've seen him at Cecil Kirk doing it. And the camp played a role in that, and it would be I feel very strongly that it's something that, we need to continue. But I say all that to say that kids are just kids. And yes, some of the kids were labeled as troubled kids, but they're leaders. We recognize them as leaders, just making poor decisions. And so the point of the camp was to connect you guys and just show you guys different experiences that would help you have a different perspective.
To Dayson's point, Dayson, your feedback, actually, I agree with you. I kind of agree with you to some extent. I do agree with you. When we hear the term at risk in our community, right, we have this image or this, again, stereotype of what that is. And so personally, myself, I don't use that term, right? I use at promise, because that's essentially what we are, right? And so when you hear the term at risk, what Dave said is absolutely correct in that we're all at risk, right? Especially being Black, being male or female, but especially being male, growing up in Baltimore City, being educated in Baltimore City schools, right? So when you hear that term, it doesn't necessarily mean that you yourself is a problematic student or a problematic young person. It just means that there are factors around you that places you at risk, right? And so we've talked about some of those things, some of our schools where you don't have air conditioners or teachers that may not be certified or things like that, right? We are at risk for those things. So that is what that means. But I do agree with you that when it comes to the camp, there can be some rebranding, because I do think that we failed to mention the lasting friendships and the meaningful, genuine friendships that we create, right? And so I do agree with you. And so I'm going to charge you with that when we do begin planning again, that you will help me with the marketing and the branding and recruiting.
Perfect. I definitely will.
And
Okay.
So still, we didn't get to hear from TJ. So TJ, if you wanted to answer the question, did you echo with what Dayson said, or did you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I do have to echo off what Dayson said. Yes, it is also, yes, it's a way to get out of the house, like get out of the city, make some new friends, meet some new people, and it's also like a way to like learn how to trust, like not everything is like as it seems, and it's like you have to like work on like trusting others, and that's basically what the camp is teaching us, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think that kind of touches on what Miss Chang and what David was saying when they say that this camp isn't only about at-risk kids. It isn't only about kids that, get in trouble. There's also a trauma aspect to it. People that are perfectly fine in school, perfectly fine in their neighborhood, are not getting in trouble, but still experience the trauma that comes with being Black, or the trauma that comes with being male or female. And so that aspect of trust, that we here in Baltimore, we as Black men or Black women don't necessarily have, or aren't necessarily given the opportunities to build. I think this camp actually gave us that.
That's beautiful. I wanted to make sure that both of you got a chance to answer the question and give Miss Chang what she needed. So it looks like we have a new person on the stage with us. Officer James, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, Officer James, City Schools. Hey, Nicole, TJ, Dayson.
How are you?
All right. I don't think I know TJ and Dayson. They went in 2017. My first year was what was the first year that I think it was 18?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
That's
think
the
it
year
was
we went.
18, but
The following year.
yeah,
Yes,
but I
I was
think
around for the 2018 one.
but I just
We
want
went
to
in
say you two
2018.
gentlemen, man, you speak eloquently, definitely. And kudos to you for continuing what you're doing. You know, for instance, with the camp was my
Little
first
technical
year there.
difficulty there.
It was more of
I
an
was gonna say, I
epiphany
looked
for
up
me.
to make sure it was 2018 because the plaque that I got from the camp is still hanging on my wall, like literally above my
Really,
desk.
that's
Yeah,
wonderful. Hey,
yeah.
hey,
I'm just
chat.
saying, they're all grown up, man. That's our boys, bro.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I get a lot of because I took a lot of pictures out there, so I get a lot of memories from Facebook with my kids dancing and when we record in the barracks and stuff. So I see a lot of that stuff, and I'm like, wow, we had a great time with Pop and everything. Kudos to Pop for generating everything, and everybody that put it together. Nicole, Chat, the Red Cross people. I forgot her name, but it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I can speak on behalf of all my school police officers. We enjoyed it just as much as the kids did, and we learned just as much as the kids did. Even though we work with kids, we still people tend to think that because we work with kids all the time that we know everything that the kids go through. They still have a voice too, and I tell a lot of the youth, anyways. Just because you're young, don't mean you don't have feelings. So express yourself. And while we were out
Or
there at that
opinions.
camp, the kids expressed themselves, and I mean they expressed themselves fully, especially
Yeah,
at night. Especially at night in the barracks. When it's time to go to bed, that's when everything really comes out. The problems at home, the problems in the streets, what they don't get, what they do get, what they want, what they need, and it touched a lot of us as the mentors that were in the barracks with them, and it made us think certain ways, a certain type of way now. Even to this day, when I go back to my school now, I try to get in touch with, even if it's not kids from the camp, it makes me stay in touch with the kids from my school at least, even during the pandemic, because it can be for us, it could be easily said that it's just our 9 to 5. But you have to show us a certain type of empathy working with children. It's not your average niece and nephews. You know how your family members are. But when you're dealing with other children that aren't yours and they have needs, you have to have a certain type of empathy and be able and a certain type of compassion and be able to understand, okay, I might be living such place and everything is good for me. But what about these children that you work with every day who don't have that? What are you going to do? And if you're not ready to deal with that, then you shouldn't be in this line of work, and you shouldn't call yourself a mentor, and that's basically how I feel about it. Hey, chat.
what's up, brother?
You know what? I think that I think it's important for people to recognize that it means something to take kids out of school, like out of the element, out of Baltimore, and that opens up a dialogue that would not have otherwise been able to happen in school. Because, like you said, Officer James, even though you're at work and you're with kids, you have a job to do at that point. You're watching all the corners, your neck's on swivel. Like things are happening that require you to be in a different mindset. And I think the same is for kids. And we have to recognize that kids don't love school. So already they're irritated and agitated the same way we are when we start talking about going to work.
Absolutely.
And I don't think we give them that same grace. You know what I mean? It's like, get up, get out of bed, go to school, and we dragging our feet to go to work too. So I think taking everybody out of that whole element and giving them an opportunity for open conversation is a beautiful thing. So what do we have to do to get this happening again, Miss Chang? How does this happen? What do we need? Who do we need to talk to? Who do we need to get on
Miss Chang. Yeah, Miss Chang.
Would love to. This was initially something that was done through the collaboration division of Baltimore City Police Department. I know that with the new commissioner, there's been some changes. I'm not sure if the collaboration division still exists. I want to say that it does not as it was before the new commissioner took over. We are ready and willing. We would just need for our commissioner to say that, that we can make this happen again, and we can reach out to our officers. Our school officers are already and all ready to go. We know that our officers are still willing to do it. So we would just need the go ahead from our commissioner to make it happen.
And
Yeah.
also, Miss Chang, we can also reach out to the mayor himself, because he's a huge advocate for our youth.
Absolutely.
He's a huge advocate for our youth, and you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I think that's a great idea.
And he can make it happen. I'm pretty sure he can make it happen.
Okay.
Well,
We're
I'm
gonna
gonna vouch for.
hopefully we can get some support.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna vouch for all the police that have experienced or been part of the camp. I would say 100% of them would be willing to do it again. Just because you said, because of the experience, I'm like 100% sure, man. Everybody just understands the value of it. And I think it's something maybe we talk about. Officer James, we'll be at Cecil Kirk Rec at 7 o'clock on Wednesday with a bunch of community people, and maybe that's one thing we can bring to the table while we're talking. Yeah.
One of the things that I would love your viewers to understand about these officers, especially, Officer James, is that many of these officers brought resources from outside their community. I know Officer James was able to reach out to his church, and his wife were able to provide our kids with brand new toiletries, bed-ins. Our kids literally didn't have to bring anything, and so they provided brand new sheets, pillowcases, toothbrush. Our officers paid out of their pockets, and that wasn't just for the camp. As I said, Officer James in particular, though he works in the school, he maintains a relationship with all of our kids. And so there were times that my partner in Sharon and I reached out to them and said, some of our kids needed a haircut, or the kids needed something, family members needed something, and they pitched in without hesitation. And so for me, even though I personally, as an adult, I do have positive relationships with individual officers, right? But for me, it was an opportunity to see just how much they too are invested. And for me, it was dawning, right? For me to just see how willing they were to give. And I don't want to say that was just because of the camp, right? So many of these individuals, these Black men and women who happen to be officers, right? Because first and foremost, they are our family, they're our brothers, they're our sisters, and they have a job to do. And so we understand the dynamics. We're not going to downplay that at all. And that was another thing for me, was the way that they were able to face it head on, right? And so we didn't shy away from anything at all. And these officers sat there and they took it, they listened. But most importantly, as you can see in Officer James, it was applied. They gave, they learned, and they were willing. And for me, it's not a lot of people, not just officers, not a lot of adults out there that are willing to give outside of themselves and their family. And so these mentors, these officers, we had firefighters, we had military service.
That's right.
Nicole, I think you're muted.
Scotty and Joe were big partners, but our officers, we couldn't do it without them. And as Dave said, they volunteered their time, they volunteered their funding, and we took them away from their kids because they spent the night. And so this wasn't something where the officers went home and came back. They were there for these 3 nights, 4 days. So they stayed, away from their families, their wives, and their children. And so I can't tell you enough. James, I love you. I appreciate you. If you don't get it,
love you too.
Get hours whenever, I appreciate you. I do.
And I'm glad you said that, because really, it's all love, bro. It's the camp and the relationships built prior to and after. That's that Baltimore love that the media doesn't really latch onto or try to, to show the rest of the world, because there's a lot of cruddy stuff going on, but ain't no love like love and family in Baltimore, man.
Absolutely. And I want to say, Nicole, thank you for the shout out for the contributions that you say my wife and I gave. But we can't take credit for that. I give credit to the Lord and my church home, GBT, Bishop Jason Nelson and my church family. once we put it out there, it came in droves. So we can't take the credit for that. I appreciate it, but it was my church community and also my family and friends also that we deal with, because they know my genuine heart for kids. I tell people all this. I've been working with children for over 20 years, and I would do it for free if I didn't have bills.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's my heart. That's my calling, to work with children. That's my calling. It's my calling.
Family and your family and friends. Tell them hopefully we get geared up. We have another year. We'll be able to do it this upcoming year.
We'll do it again. And we'll do it again. We'll do it again. That's what it's all about. And like you said, Chap, they're never gonna report the good, because it's not newsworthy. But we don't do it for that. We don't do it for the reports. We don't do it for the news. We don't do it for that. Because if we did, we wouldn't do it.
No, right.
We do it for the love.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you're not going to see all the stats on all the crime reduction, because
that's right.
Because the relationships we're building, there is no, the relationships we're building, there is much less crime. There's nothing to report, because the relationships we're building is supporting these young men and women. And so, you can't look at, 3 months after crime, the camp, crime went down with juveniles. Like, you're not going to see that.
Nope.
But 2017 or 18, right? So fast forward 3 or 4 years, and what you see is Tiquan on his way to become the governor. Y'all didn't know that, but I'm letting y'all know that now. TJ, the governor.
Oh yeah, I saw it in the scroll at the bottom. It said TJ, the governor.
And Dayson as well. He's on his way to be a leadership role in our community as well, taking political science at Coppin State. Whether he stays in Baltimore, which I pray he does, but he's already taken leadership roles in the community. He's organizing. He took my son with a group of young men. They went somewhere a couple weekends ago. They're going camping. Like, that's what it looks like. It looks like young people stepping in the gap between us and the babies, where I ain't got to do anything, right?
Outstanding.
I can call TJ and be like, yo, I need you to run a video game tournament over Northwest at this rec. TJ's got it. I can say, Mike, yo, I need some help moving some families from the explosion. He's got it. And
Big Mike.
Yeah, Big Mike was on earlier, man. Like,
yes, sir, Big Mike.
Yeah, I still call them guys, man. And then it just grows, because every year we do a camp, we add more kids to the family and more kids who are stepping in the gap and helping us carry the torch.
Wonderful.
And like Nicole talks about that legacy, they carry that legacy on, man. They are our message to the future. Like, this is what it needs to look like. I can't do it all. I know I can't do it all, but here's what it looks like. And you guys, they emulate it, they evolve it for their culture, because it's always changing. But it's the torch, man. These guys are the torch bearers.
And kudos to you too, Chap, for standing in the muck. You stay in the muck of it.
Hey, so real quick, Nicole, I got another surprise for you guys. TJ, you might remember this young lady. Let's see if I can get her on here.
And
hey,
happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Happy belated birthday to you.
Mine was in October.
Oh, your wife, I know somebody had a birthday in July, right?
No, that was
Oh, that might
just
be somebody else. But thank
this
you.
year, we're celebrating you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So you missed some of the babies earlier, but Miss Nicole, would you like to introduce your longtime friend?
This is not only my longtime friend, but my partner with our legacy. And Shira and I had the opportunity to help bring Chief Russell's vision to life. And so that I spoke about earlier, that was in the thick of it with me, that helped to design and build out the camp. Hey,
I remember those two faces. I remember Dayson and Taekwon. Hi, guys.
How you
Hey,
doing?
y'all look
Hello.
amazing. How are you all?
Thank you. I'm fine.
We're good. We're good.
Good, nice, nice. I'm pretty sure everybody's all caught up on the things that y'all been into and doing. So I'm not even gonna have you repeat it. I'll have Miss Nicole tell me everything. But yeah, look at you all. Dayson,
One thing
what you
we
got going on though?
you wrote a book,
Me?
Jason. Please tell us
Yeah, you
about your
told me that.
book.
You told me you wrote a
Oh,
book.
pitch
Yes,
the book.
yes.
I forgot to tell you. Yeah.
Is it on
I
Yes.
didn't
Amazon?
hear. What's up with the book? 'Cause I
It's
need to
Yes.
buy one.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Is it on Amazon?
so I was given so God blessed me with the ability to not self-publish my book, but actually get my book published through a publishing company. So it's worldwide
Okay.
in all major bookstores, Walmart, Target, Barnes and Noble, etc., and so on. And my book is called The Talk Discussing Black America. I think I got one somewhere right here. Can you see it?
That's
Yes,
awesome. That
the
is
talk.
awesome. That is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it's
That
called The
is
Talk
awesome.
Discussing Black America, and it's a take on the conversation that so many black parents have to have with their children about race in America and police encounters, not necessarily police brutality or misconduct and abuse, but just how to approach a situation where you are encountering police officers. Not only that, but how to better explain to your children what these instances of police brutality, misconduct, and abuse to help explain that to them because I work with a lot of children. As David said, I'm a mentor. I tutor. I work at daycares, at school programs, camps, so on and so forth. And a lot of these kids see these instances where police officers abuse their power and ultimately end up hurting or killing someone that looks like them, that looks like their father, that looks like their mother, and they don't necessarily know what it means, and they don't know how to handle it. Some kids have cried in front of me, and it's really painful because all kids all around the world are watching these videos of police officers being just wrong. It's on all social media and it's unescapable. And so I decided and tried to make a book to help parents explain this to their children and also make it in a way where children can understand it for themselves if they don't have a prominent parent or figure in their lives who can have this conversation with them.
Got you. I like it, and I cannot wait to get one and read it. I'm so excited. And TJ, look at you. You look so mature. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you.
Look at you. What's going on with you?
Nothing much really. I've actually been taking some classes, some college level classes for my senior year. One of them right now is being AP Calculus, and actually I have a session
Whoa.
tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Nice.
That's wonderful. That is
Well,
wonderful.
you old smart one. You talking about some calculus. That sounds like
He
that's
can build you a
scary
bike.
talk. Yeah.
I'm looking forward
That's
to
right.
it.
I love it. Okay. So what school are you at, TJ?
I'm at ACE. That's 36 and Falls Road in the Hampton
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, okay.
You over there with Officer Wiggins? Is Officer Wiggins over? Yeah, Officer Wiggins is over
I've seen her around, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's great, man. That's great.
Aww.
That's great. I'm gonna tell her to give you extra special treatment.
All right.
That's how she is anyways. You know, she's the lovey-dovey.
Oh yeah, she is. She is.
Yeah.
Officer.
You said what?
TJ, do you have a relationship with your school officer?
I haven't really been out in the hallways to really talk to her, really. So,
that's right.
But I mean, it's pretty much like a neutral relationship, yeah.
You were back in person this year?
Say it again?
Okay.
I'm gonna call her when we finish this conference here, and I'm gonna let her know.
Yeah,
All right. Pay special attention to you.
Leave that boy alone, man. He's doing good. I want to back up because Nicole was commenting on kind of the sacrifices and the way that the relationships we're building with these guys you know, we try to show love, we try to show support. So like Tiquan actually probably still has his I assume you still got your smack your what do you call it, the switch,
Indeed, I do.
right?
Yes.
It's on your switch. So
Yep.
that one Christmas, I think it was right after camp, man. All I did was reach out to all the officers at camp, and everybody pitched in and got this guy a Nintendo Switch. And I say
I remember that.
Yeah,
I
and I
remember
say
that. Yep.
it doesn't always have to be so serious. Like, it doesn't always have to be getting our kids into a STEM program or getting our kids of course, the vital stuff that that they need is important. But I think it's also important that why shouldn't TJ have a Switch? The white kids in the county got a Switch, right?
That's
So why
right.
shouldn't I have one? You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important that we first again recognize that like the officers paid for that, bro. Like I just reached out to them and everybody pitched in, and I was like, wow, we got this guy like a $400 system with like one phone call. It was great. But the other thing is, I think a lot of times when we're in the community, we're serving you, Dayson and TJ and Big Mike and Aaron Cooper and Anaya and Adaya and just the hundreds of kids that we serve. A lot of times we're so focused on, I guess we're so mission focused, we forget like for instance, if you run into a homeless dude, right? You give him money, you give him water or a fruit or something like that. But like, why not give him a Kit Kat? Like, why does he deserve a Kit Kat less than I do? Right? You know what I mean? Just the other things in life. I think it's also important to spoil our kids because there's not enough black kids that are spoiled, man. I'm not trying to be funny. I got two black kids, so I'm saying like a little bit, right? Because I'm having this discussion today with a cat who worked like Hartford County Parks and Recs or something, and he's telling me, man, we got a PS5, we got this VR thing for the video games for the kids. Well, I've been in my rec center for over a year. I can't even get them to buy me a TV. So why is the kids in Hartford County more important than my kids? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's important that we show them their value by sometimes we got to spoil them a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Spoil my babies in Baltimore.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. It makes a big difference.
Here in Baltimore, oftentimes have to find a way to get our kids the things that they need. And I think, that is one of the major differences. When I'm not one of those people that don't believe that our city isn't filled with resources, right? I do think that there's money in our city. I think that we have the resources that we need to address our children and our community needs. It's a matter of, are they open to everyone? And do we know about them? Do we have access to them? Are we sharing what those resources are and encouraging one another to use them? And so, part of that is tapping into what's out there and just not operating in silos. And again, for me, this entire experience taught me that, like, we were able to do all of these things because of our partnerships, because of our relationships. And so I think that was a great example of seeing what can happen when we all just pitch in any way that we can.
I'll just add that I definitely heard that when everybody was speaking, that more than anything, people learned how to build relationships and break down barriers of assumption, like get to know people. And kind of what I always say, just treat people like people, treat humans like humans, and the world will be a better place. Like so many times we have all these preconceived notions and we're in our head, and really it's just a hi, a bye, and a conversation, and somebody's day is lit up, and it's just that simple. But teaching the kids at a young age how important relationships are, they'll be able to take that through college, through their lifetime, and build upon it. So I think it's beautiful.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I don't know where Chap went. We still have about 10 more minutes of conversation, guys. So what else are we going to talk about? So wait, Wednesday will be at Cecil Kirk again, right?
Yes, it is.
What's the address, somebody?
Yes, it is a community fair for organizations or individuals that are looking to partner with Cecil Kirk. So if you know anyone within organization or just want to do their part for that, which is really needed, absolutely please send them our way.
And it'll be from 5 to 7?
7 to 9.
Will someone be
Dayson, correct, right? Dayson
Yes.
works there.
Will someone be
Yeah, so
recording it? Because that's the day I work a double that day. If I didn't have to work, I would be there. But I work a double that day.
If we're allowed to record, I'll record for you.
Okay, thank you.
The address is 909 East 22nd, Cecil Kirk Rec.
Yeah, I know what a rec is.
Yeah, and so they are also Dayson, myself, the director of the rec center, David McNair, as well as one of the other community partners, the Rich Foundation, are in the process of planning a 2-week actual summit for kids that are in the rec center, for about 45 kids. And so, they won't be spending the night, but we'll be doing a lot of the same things that we did for the camp, as far as for different workshops and introducing the different new dynamics of the kids. But we want to take them horseback riding. We're going to have a different field trip for them for those 2 weeks, and this is going to be during August. So we weren't able to do the camp completely, but when David reached out to me, I absolutely wanted to help with this in any way possible. So we are still in some capacity, still doing the work.
Now, is there any type of way that we can have, let's say, a Love You to Life camp reunion? That we can get all the children and all the counselors from the very first year, and like go into a park or something, and we could start getting donations and get sponsors and just get everybody out there, and have Pop come out, and is there any way that could take place?
Absolutely. Bill James, and I'm going to tag you for that committee right now to get the planning underway. So we definitely can make that happen.
I think we should make that happen. I even think we should go as far as trying to do a one night, do an overnight. I mean, we can do a party. We're trying to do maybe just like a one night overnight, Saturday to Sunday or Friday to Saturday. I think that'd be dope too.
Because Q is available. She's retired now, so she's available.
Bonaparte's retired now, so she should be available.
That's right. Actually. That's right.
So y'all,
I was going to comment.
Pop retired now.
Pop's retired now.
Yeah. So yeah.
We could do it. We could get a lot of because a lot of the speakers, I'm sure they would be dying to come.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was one of my biggest things. That's what I love. The speakers helped me out a lot.
Yeah, no kidding. That guy CJ was off the chain.
Man,
I still quote one of CJ's when I talk to people. I'll be like, anything that's out of order does not work.
Doesn't work.
It does not work. I live by that one.
Yeah.
I live by that one.
Yeah. Let me share real quick. You were talking about the reunion. That's a great primer for rebooting the camp. I know between Creative Influence, the guy Director David McNair has a nonprofit called Creative Influence at Cecil Kirk. And then as well as my partner, Lewis Thomas with PowerFest, Baltimore. We've been talking on and off with Chief y'all call him Pop. That's my chief. But we've been talking on and off with him about what it looks like reviving the camp. And now that COVID's gone away, those discussions can proliferate. And I really think even if the city or the mayor doesn't see the value or have the budget or I'm of the opinion that we don't need them to do the camp. Like between the organizations in the city, community people, that whole mantra, like in the city right now, we all we got, we all we need, is very true. It's very true. Like we have the resources and the people to do the camp. And I just think we need to get together and have the conversation because everybody sees the value. Anyone who's been involved, from the kids to the police, and, It's just something that we can do regardless of, if we run into politics, like leave them behind and just do the camp. If we want to do a reunion event to kind of prime everybody and raise awareness, let's do it. It's absolutely, we should do that. And you're muted, Nicole.
Nicole,
Can't
your
hear
mic
you.
is on.
I said I just want to jump in there that I agree that we can make something happen probably without the mayor's office, but we will absolutely need the police commissioner as well as, and I'm sure that, Chief Ham, I already know Chief Ham would be on board, but we would absolutely need, their approval or their participation in order for the officers to be able to participate. Obviously, the legality that would exist for the officers to be able to, come in contact with the kids.
Yes and no. Because if they're doing it on their off time, if we're doing it on a Saturday or something like that, when nobody's working overtime and nobody's working, we're creating a day. The officers don't even really have to be at work. Doesn't have to be the traditional, they need this amount of time while they're at work. I'm saying that let's do this on their personal time so they can be personal. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a payday.
It's
exactly.
And not a payday.
But
Yeah.
Nicole, no, I thought you were going to say something, but there is I feel what Nicole's saying, because me as a chaplain, a lot of times I'm getting told what I can't do, and they're not even paying me. So, you got to play the game, man.
Absolutely. So what do Dayson and TJ, what do you all think about a reunion?
Yeah.
Because we go off as adults, we go off on a rant, and and I'm just being honest. We forget you all sometimes, and I'm just being honest.
They said you better feed them good.
And it's all about you all. So what do you all think?
Door prizes. We need some good door prizes.
I think a reunion could be beneficial. I think that we should have a reunion. I mean, I'm in contact with a lot of the people that were at my camp anyway. Michael, TJ, I talked to a lot of these people anyway. But as far as the counselors are concerned, I haven't talked to a lot of the police officers since the camp. So I think I would love to see those police officers again.
Cool. I run into Pete a lot too.
Do y'all remember Chap and James? Do y'all remember a girl named Alicia? A young girl, she wore glasses, she had a puffball, she went to like Lansdowne.
If I seen her, because I stay in contact with Aaron Cooper, Adaya, and Anaya.
Would I be able, can I share pictures on here?
Sure.
You don't know if you can upload on here? Okay.
If you can figure it out. But
what about her, Ann?
She worked at the Chick-fil-A at Lansdowne, and I was in the drive-thru, and she recognized my voice, which is like, because I had my mask on and everything. She recognized my voice. She said, "Were you a part of a camp? It was called Love You to Life." And I pulled my mask down, and I said, "Let me see your face," because she had a mask on. She pulled hers down, and we both kind of screamed like, "Oh my God!" And she gave me a hug, and she told me, yeah, she said she wanted us to know that that camp did good for her, and that she's graduated from high school, and that she's about to start taking classes at Essex.
That's
so
wonderful.
I thought that was like so cool. So we exchanged numbers. I have her number now and how to reach her. But I see her now every morning because she works at the Chick-fil-A by my job.
That's wonderful.
So I actually have a question. What would it take to do a reunion? What resources would you need?
We can do it at the rec. I know we can do it at Cecil Kirk. So we just need to.
With pretty much, it wouldn't even be a matter of space. It would just be, kind of coordinating with all of the officers, with some of the other. If we're going to go to the first camp, reaching out to some of the Army personnel, Boy Scouts. But I think it's just a matter of just reaching out to everyone. I mean, it shouldn't be much. It's as far as for resources, monies. It wouldn't really cost anything.
Right.
Because I just asked that because, like you said, I work at the camp and I'm also a board member of Creative Influence with David McNair, and I'm pretty sure he would be glad to allow us to use his rec or the back for a reunion.
Yeah, so we for the rec center, Rita Church, we also have really good relationship with Rita Church. So it's definitely not even a issue of space or venue. We definitely have like a multitude of spaces that, you know, we can use. It's a matter of coordinating everyone's schedule to make it happen. But I don't even think it's a question. I think that we just have decided that we're going to make it happen. And you guys have voiced that you want to make it happen. I know that some of our young people have been reaching out to me, have been asking for it to happen. So I think that we can just start planning. I'll reach out to Chief Russell and just see where we can go from this. And I'll reach out to Shorter as well.
And let's do a bike ride within. That would be great with the kids. I'm serious. They would love it. As much as they pop, as much as they really pop. He said, "I'm not cool with that."
Yeah, cool day.
Even if it's night, you can get yourself some water, you know.
Cool. We could do it in the fall. You know,
I was gonna say we can wait until September. Like most of the time, towards the end of September, it starts cooling back down or whatever. We can do that.
Get out one Saturday.
Every day, 90 degree heat.
Let me say this.
We're gonna have to bring y'all back on so that we can pin down a day and stop. One day. No, we need to pin down a day.
That's right. Okay. That's right.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what Wednesday is for, right? We're all going to be there, right?
If we're staying on the group, we got to do it.
Are you talking about Cecil Kirk this Wednesday?
We will all be there.
5 to 7, 909 East, 22nd Street.
Yeah, I won't be there, so please someone record it.
No, I'm going to come through.
Dayson, say it one more time.
909 East 22nd Street, 7 to 9. And I will say this, guys.
7 to 9 or 5 to 7.
Right, y'all keep saying different times.
It's 5 to 7.
The flyer says 7 to 9.
7 to 9?
I thought you said 5 to 7.
Overtime then.
Get that money, Dave.
That's what you're concerned about. They said that's past my time. I'm not
they're really probably trying to get you though, because they gonna have you get off at 7 o'clock. They don't have to pay you for 7 to 9, but they know you still gonna be there. You better check them. Check them tomorrow.
Miss and Miss Nicole, and James as well. While I have you guys, I do want to share one thing. So there's a lot of positive came out of the camp. A lot of positive. But there was also kids that fell into the gap. And there was a lot of kids that we made promises to for follow-up and things that we're talking about now, like doing that. Hang on one second. But we made promises for a lot of follow-up, and a lot of things fizzled out, and it's neither here nor there. But I think we're talking about doing these things. Let's just do them. And moving forward, if we get the camp set up, we just need to make sure that we follow through with the checks we write to the kids, because like little Malcolm, he was struggling and he was reaching out and we couldn't get to him. We couldn't follow up. Aaron Cooper, he's been struggling. He got put on the box for a while, and thank God we were, but people were able to reach out to him while he was in the box, and so the officers, like Cromer and them guys did grab hold of him and help him get turned around. But that's not the narrative for everybody. And so even with all this positive things we're doing, if we don't intentionally follow up, we're going to lose kids in the cracks. And, no man left behind, man. We can't. These guys, once we make them, we need to be there for them,
Absolutely.
Wow.
So I'm all about this good talk for the reunion. I'm all about the good talk for the camp. I'm a doer. Insure, you're a doer. Nicole's a doer. So let's do it. Wow. I need everyone on this show to do it, because I don't surround myself with mouths.
Let me know. I work a lot during the summer. But when I'm available, I will be there. I'll bring my son like I did today over Lake Clifton Park when we met the commissioner. No, when we met the commissioner, when we had the kids.
Not Cecil Kirk, Rita Church.
Just let me know. Just call me. No, when we had all the kids with Pete and all of them, when we had the breakfast with the commissioner.
Yeah,
Rita Church.
That was Rita Church.
That was Rita Church.
Yep. But
that's who's sponsoring.
No, that Rita
okay.
Church Rec Center. That's the name of the rec center. It's called Rita Church.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just say Lake
Yeah.
Clifton Pool. You know I'm a county
No.
boy. Cut it out, N.
I'm
I'm just
I'm
saying.
making sure you guys hear me because not everybody will hear it, but and not everybody will speak up. But a lot of the kids after the camp, I just want to make sure that you guys hear me. Is that and even TJ, man, even I've dropped the ball with TJ. I ain't seen my man's in like a year because he's all the way northwest and all the way east. But but there's love there because I've been there. But I'm saying these kids need us. We need them, right? Because you guys are my leaders now. You're not my future leaders. You all heard me say that before. You're my leaders now. And whatever you're doing, we will support you. I just think it's important, like I said, just to not be another disappointment to the kids that we engage, the kids that we serve. Because they disappointed enough. They're going to get it enough in Baltimore. We just need to make sure that, even if you only got time for one, find that one.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll call you on it. They'll call you on it.
Because TJ, for a while, he was my one. He was my, I didn't have time for nobody else because
I remember that.
I was going to West any chance I could and take care of this guy. And he's good. And so even though I'm not available all the time like I would like to be, he knows that I'm available whenever he needs me. This man called me one time, needed a ride from Patterson Park home. I'm like, what are you doing in Patterson Park, bro?
TJ, how is your mom doing, TJ?
Don't put his business out there, chat.
He's doing good. He's doing good. Just recently, she had just turned 50. Yeah, so she went out and partied. Yeah.
Yeah. How's your dad?
So let the people need to know. He's doing good.
Birthday.
He's doing
He's
good.
Doing good. Yes.
Good. I'm good. I'm glad to hear that. I know that she was having a hard time for a second, so I'm glad to hear that she's good, and I'm glad to hear that your dad is doing a lot better.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Chap and N, do you all still have that list of names and phone numbers from my
I got my phone right now.
Me and Nicole probably more likely has a list, but Bailey should have a list because the police had to keep archives.
Okay, because the only ones I've ran across and talked to, forgot his name, but he's at Coppin Academy, and the principal called me in black up one time because he was acting up and got, he needed to hear from somebody. And then, like I said, I run into Pete all the time now. Pete is doing well. He goes to the same barber shop I go to and everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
You ran into the girl at Walmart, and she actually wound up being in my program at Yo Baltimore.
That's what's up. The small girl that was real funny. Yeah.
Bandana.
Yeah, she was working out. That's because she did what the girl did to you. She saw me and she said, "Didn't you used to work at the camp?" I said, "I knew who you were." I said, "I was gonna wait and see if you knew who I was." And she gave me the biggest hug. This was before the pandemic, though.
Yeah, and when I was at Yo, when she came in there, she saw me or whatever. She gave me a big hug too or whatever. But
that's what's up.
I call it little gang gang.
Little gang gang.
That's what's up. She was actually doing good. When I seen that she wasn't working at Walmart anymore, she was doing hair. She was building up her own clientele, that way or whatever. And she was trying to get into hair school. So I was telling her I would help her get into hair school because she probably qualified to get in free. But then I kind of lost. She stopped coming to Yo for whatever reasons, and I haven't been able to get in contact with her since.
Oh, okay. Well, we can make that happen because I know the guy that's the manager that runs Yo. So we can.
No. That's Yo West. You talking about Marvin, and you talking about Yo West. I was working at Yo East.
Oh, okay.
I was working at the Yo East.
Okay. Let's see. We in touch though.
Right.
So guys, Nicole had to go because she's super important. She had an NAACP meeting to go to. So she had to bail on us, and we're over a little bit, man. But I appreciate everyone's time tonight. And Officer James, TJ, you guys are awesome, man. And I appreciate the love. And just sharing that love. Just sharing that love, bro. We broadcast on Be More News. We broadcast on BlackUSA.com, and they need to know, man. Baltimore is all love, bro. Don't believe what you heard.
At all.
And tell them, and we don't do messy.
We don't do messy. No, not at all. I don't do that.
We don't do messy.
Not at all.
I appreciate you all. I love you all. And we'll talk. Hopefully, we see you guys Wednesday. And man, I'll talk to you guys this week.
Love y'all.
Absolutely. It was good seeing everybody. Mwah, 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 mwah.
Ready?
See y'all next time.
See ya.
Peace.
See y'all Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I'll try to make it.